Hi, aligned souls. Welcome to the Soul Revival podcast, where we have meaningful conversations to help you explore tools and healing methods that help you return to your soul self. Join us as we help you merge the ethereal and the material worlds, allowing you to live your most fulfilling and aligned life. I'm Lindsay Stanton, author, somatic practitioner, intuitive Reiki master, and grief coach.
Hello, I am Autumn, a believer in miracles, intuitive guide, and psychic medium. We're your hosts and guides. We don't just talk healing, we live it. This is where soul meets strategy, spirit meets structure, and our highest selves take the mic.
Welcome back to the Soul Revival podcast.
Today's episode is one about expansion and seeing signs and angels and getting messages from the other side as well. So I'm really excited for today's episode. Lindsay has an amazing story that she's going to share today. But yeah, welcome back to the Soul Revival.
I'm super excited about this conversation because I feel like this is something that actually people don't really talk about that much. I might hear like mediums and psychics talk about it a little bit, but I feel like it's not really talked about that much. So, what Autumn and I want to share today is the things that kind of cued us in early in our journeys and then even still today. So, there are so many layers to your spiritual expansion. And there are so many different ways you can receive information from your spirit team as you're starting to, and my spirit team just turned my light off. Um, as as you're starting to go on your journey, for those who are watching on video, my light just went off and on. But there's so many things that happen, sensations, signs that happen as you're kind of hitting that next level, next level, next level. And I had so many that were foundational building blocks. And obviously, some of mine specifically relate to building a communication system with Roger on the other side. But the same tools could be used for any connective purpose, whether you're looking to build a relationship and a communication with a person who is here in the physical world at some point, or if you're looking to just expand your spiritual connection awareness to the angelic realm, your divine support team, God, source. I feel like everything that happened to me on my journey, and I'm sure you as well, Autumn, are relatable steps and indicators that are consistent as people kind of do this work and get more and more tapped in, tuned in, and trust. At the end of the day, they're building blocks for trust. And it's the other side, like helping us be more trusting and be more open.
Trust. And I think that there's something about the awareness around the signs that really open up our conscious mind as well, which, bridges that trust. So I believe that as soon as you set the intention or you get the curious energy of what if there is more? Like, what if this is not how the world is meant to be? And as soon as I started tapping it, actually, as soon as I started meditating, I started to get signs. And Lindsay, my first sign, I have to say, was a hawk. My first sign was a
Never
hawk.
told me that before.
And I know, yeah, it was hawks. I would see hawks all of the time. So much that I would be like driving down the road, like, oh my gosh, there's a hawk, there's a hawk, there's a hawk. And my significant other would be like, Autumn, like, it's just a hawk. I'm like, it is not just a hawk. It's so much more than just a hawk. And every single time I would see a hawk, like on the light on the highway, I would really feel like I'm not sure if you ever played Mario Kart, but there would like in Mario Kart, there's like those power ups when you go through like the rainbow circle.
Yeah.
In my mind's eye, I would see hawks portraying this rainbow circle out, and every time I would drive my car through it, I would feel this like level up or this power up, and I
I
would
love
get
that.
so excited. I would get so excited. So, yeah, my first sign that really anchored me into where I'm at now started with hawks.
Yeah, I love your analogy too. I don't play video games. I never really have, but I love that analogy. I completely agree with you. That resonates deeply with me, like the power up idea. And that is so true. And I agree with you. I mean, and I feel the same way about hawks. Like I think there's such, and if you look at native culture, the reverence behind hawks and the energy and strength they provide and the they do tap you further into your intuition. So just their energy itself and their beingness has a spiritual aspect to it and a spiritual up leveling. And then obviously for me, birds of prey were such a huge thing for Roger. He loved hawks, osprey, eagles, any birds of prey he was hugely into. So his son had some pretty off the wall amazing science with eagles actually, but yeah, really really cool. One of them he got on video. But yeah, and I mean I've had when I was going through some really tough things after Roger's passing. I mean I've had hawks around me ever since his passing, but I had a hawk literally fly over my shoulder when I was out on the path walking in deep grief. And I mean, I felt its wings pulse as it passed me. That's how close it was to me. So, I think your point earlier of like, I mean, that's obviously not normal behavior for a hawk. And also, I wasn't scared at all. I was just like, it was like amazing. Like I was so tapped in the energy of the magic of it and the beauty of it. So, and I think that's an indicator too, right? I mean, you immediately know like this is something powerful.
And that's why I'm so excited for this episode today because it's the awareness around it. People could be experiencing this and not understanding it's a loved one on the other side. So, for those who don't know, I started meditating after my best friend had passed away. So again, it was that grief period of, wondering. Like I just knew it wasn't the end. I knew it wasn't the end, and that's when Hawk started coming to me, and the meditation book came out, and there was so much that involved in all of that. But as much as they send us signs, we can ask for signs as well. I want to touch base on this, and then Lindsay has a phenomenal story. So whenever I am looking for direction, so first let them send you the signs. Let you feel and tap into that gratitude energy of receiving, of the abundance, because they will send you signs nonstop, whether it's angel signs, hawks, colors, shapes, numbers, songs on the radio, doppelgangers. There's so many different ways that they can send you signs. You can ask for signs as well. And I have so many different stories of asking for signs, but I think asking for signs does something to our mental mind where we can't, there's nothing more that we can do than to believe and have the faith in the sign that they are giving us.
Put
Um,
in a state of reception and openness.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that's a great way to put it. Early on, my fiance, when I started communicating with my best friend on the other side and really developing my mediumship gifts, um, he wanted me to just kind of get evaluated. And Dustin's like my best friend on the other side.
We have an exciting opportunity to share with you.
Did you know inside the Soul Revival community, we have a giveaway? One lovely soul is gifted something sacred, a Reiki session, an intuitive reading, a powerful course, or even access into the community itself. This isn't just a giveaway. It's a soul blessing, a moment where healing meets divine timing. You'll feel the shift, you'll see the signs, and you'll know you're not alone anymore. Say yes to your intuition, your healing, your next chapter. Enter now at the link below in the show notes labeled Soul Revival Giveaway for your chance to win.
Let's get back to today's episode.
Was like, no. He's like, ask him for what sign he wants to see. And he's like, I will bring that sign through, but he cannot get you evaluated. He either has to, take you as you are and be your biggest supporter, or he has to, it's the end of the book for you, end of the chapter kind of thing. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I must be nuts right now to like literally look at Mark and be like, hey, Dustin wants you to ask for a sign and he's going to bring it through to you. Oh my goodness, my ears are ringing right now.
That's
And
so cool because that's
another sign.
about, yeah.
And so Mark was like, he took a long time to think of a sign. He wanted it to be really good and validating. So he said he wanted to see a cardinal in its nest with its babies. And it took 3 weeks. 3 weeks, Mark calls me while he's at work. Autumn, you're not gonna believe this. And it was like that thrill kind of energy where it's just like, oh my gosh, you got fired. Like that was the first thing that came to my mind was you got fired because it was like that just the same energy of just like that what just
Fear and
happened.
excitement kind of have the same energy.
Exactly, it's duality. So he's like, no, he's like, I was loading up my hoses because he works like air ducts, so he has these huge hoses, and he was walking by a bush, and the homeowner came out and was like, hey, careful by that bush. And when Mark looked at the bush, the cardinal flew out. And Mark's like, oh, where that cardinal's at? He's like, yeah. He's like, you got to be careful because it actually has a nest with its babies inside of that bush. And Mark's like, what? Like, what? And he's like, can I get a picture? And the homeowner's like, yeah. He's like, come on inside. And he's like, you got to see it from the inside. Outside of this guy's kitchen window, there was no leaves, no sticks, no branches in front of this nest. It was a nest with two cardinal babies. So the sign was there, so validating. I mean, we live in Illinois, we see cardinals all the time, but I didn't know when they had babies. I didn't, there was just so many of the what ifs. I thought we were going to have to go to Goodwill and look at some antiques of those old time Christmas pictures. But no, it was so validating and it just anchored him into truth and so much more of the unknown. And it was just a beautiful moment in our life and transitioning and just him believing in his own faith. And it was beautiful.
I love that. I love that's such a beautiful story. And I think brings up too that like we can receive signs in so many different ways. So don't be restrictive in the way that you are, thinking that you'll receive it. I mean, it could be a lyric in a song that references the sign you just asked for. It could be a picture. It could be like something popping up on your Instagram or Facebook. It could be something randomly popping up on your phone. It could be, actually seeing the thing in person. It could be somebody saying it randomly when you're out somewhere, like, oh my gosh, did you see the book about the unicorn? Yeah, like it could be, I mean, just like anything like that, just open yourself to the broad ways because they will use the path of least resistance. And I see this a lot. I'm sure you do as well in your family, but like I'm an easy path. So, if Roger wants to get a message to somebody else, like he's probably going to deliver it through me because he knows like he's got a direct line, right? So there's no point in struggling to deliver something a different way. But oftentimes other people can be your path too. So don't be restrictive in the way that you are thinking that you'll receive the sign because it could come to you in so many different ways. And so I want to share a few things that happened to me early in my journey because I think this is important for people to know, especially I didn't have anybody like helping guide me or instruct me. Well, I did, Roger, but on the other side, but I didn't have anybody in the physical realm telling me here's what to expect, or that's normal that you're getting this. But I mean, I received as I was like kind of, I would say, I'm going to use the word up leveling early in my journey and just building those foundational building blocks of my spiritual connection and communication. I would receive things often through electronics. My phone was a huge pathway for Roger. I would frequently get like songs or I didn't use like Pinterest or TikTok like at all. And I would have things pop up that were specific messages about things that I was asking or talking to him about in my head. Um, but I also had phases of signs and communication that represented the up leveling. So I remember I was at one point and I was maybe, I'm going to say 6-ish months in on my journey. I was having ringing in my ears. And I finally asked him, like, is this you answering me when I'm asking you, like when I'm talking to you about something or asking a question? And my ear rang. And so that was like, yes. And so that again was a building block for me. I also had a lot of headaches. So I'm obviously not like advocating that you don't go to the doctor if you're having an issue, but something inside me intuitively knew that that was expansion. And it's really interesting because I hadn't had that for a long time. And recently, over the last few months, I had been starting to get headaches again. And so I just like kind of went through, and I'm going to share a story in a few minutes that Autumn kind of teased at the beginning of the episode.
Be sure to check out the show notes below to see if you're the winner of our giveaway.
So yeah, so headaches have been a consistent thing. Well, it's interesting. So I'd kind of let that go. I didn't, I wasn't associating with it anymore because it'd been years since I'd had the headaches for up leveling. But that started happening again to me recently. So, and I didn't make the connection until the huge spiritual sign that I'll share with you in a few minutes. But I just want to share, before I do that, I want to share a few other things that happened to me earlier in my journey that kind of were, again, that just continuous movement of expansion along my way. And they're probably ones that happen to a lot of people. And again, I didn't have a guide, so I hopefully I can help be a little bit of a guide in that way. But I remember I would see like prisms often in the sky. And oftentimes they would have rainbows in them, like just slight rainbowish prisms of rectangular or triangular shapes. And that was when I started. I knew immediately, back to your signs comments, like more are talking about signs. I knew immediately when I saw them that there was a deeper meaning to it. And so I looked it up and went to good old Google and found out about sacred geometry. And what I want to say is every element of my spiritual expansion, and I'm sure you would resonate with this as well, was divine timing and was intentional and purposeful. And it was that next puzzle piece that I needed for that next place that I was meant to go. And so yeah, it was just divine. It was logical. It was like divinely driven guidance to help me unlock new codes, new keys to the tools that I was being drawn to and the healing I was being drawn to, and tapping into that healing in a way that would help me guide others to that healing as well. And so, yeah, so sacred geometry was something that came up for me pretty early as well. I would say within that first year, I was seeing a lot of prism shaped objects, especially in the sky. And I connect deeply with the sky, anyways, which I know you do too, Autumn. It's crazy how our journeys parallel each other. And meditation was the first thing I was drawn to, too. I'd never in my life meditated. And then when Roger passed, I just intuitively knew I needed to meditate. And that definitely helped me tap in. But yeah, so early for me, I would say the getting information through technology, the headaches, the ear ringing, the sacred geometry were big ones that I received early on my journey. And then of course I channeled the book, which was my first experience with channeling. I didn't even have the language around that yet because I wasn't, really in that space yet. Like I hadn't gone to or worked with any teachers in that space, but I knew intuitively that I was writing things that weren't my words and that I was writing faster than I could keep up with. So I knew it was outside of me.
Exactly. And it rings like truth inside. Like you
Yeah.
feel that vibration inside of your energetic body, inside of your physical body, where it's just truth.
Yeah.
Um, I love that you mentioned sacred geometry because sacred geometry, it goes hand in hand with Archangel Metatron, with which Metatron is all about making sure that you're on your life path and you're following the roads and the puzzle pieces to get where you're going. So it just makes sense that that was showing up in the beginning because you are completely a guide. You educate so many others on this path. And there's two other things I wanted to talk about before that amazing story, you guys. It is so good. um with receiving signs or getting signs, you just have to put the intention out there of, or not even just like wanting to know more. Like Mark, he was so closed off. He is not one to like ever open himself up outside of his comfort zone. He eats the same things for lunch. He eats the same things for he's very simple. and he received a sign. So if you're listening to this like, oh, I'm not deserving, you are so deserving. You are so deserving. They're probably all around you all the time. It just takes this little key or code of awareness to
Exactly.
anchor into you. Um, I love the validation of spirit using other people to bring through signs, because I was connecting with my guardian angel, and I was getting her name, and I'm like, what is her name? You know, and it's 922, which is my angel number right now, so I had to voice that. But Starlight kept coming to me for my guardian angel's name, Starlight. And I'm like, I'm anchoring into that. So it felt true. I was sitting on the couch going through like kind of a Saturday. I was just kind of in my feels, and all of a sudden the song that's like, if you want to, I'll take you to a galaxy. We could take you for a ride. You know that song that's like,
Yeah.
I had a reminiscence. I don't know, it's so long ago, but that song comes on and it's literally about starlight. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. Like the validation that rang through the music. So I just instantly, intuitively, like get up, start dancing. And then a couple days later, Kinsey gets home from school. Actually, I picked her up from school that day. And she's like, hey, mom. And she's like in kindergarten at the time, so 4 or 5. She's like, I met a new friend at recess. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, you met a new friend. Well, what's her name? And Lindsay, I have this on video somewhere. She looks at me and she goes, Starlight. And I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, you have a kid in your grade named Starlight? And she's like, no, mom. She's like, I was at recess and she appeared in my mind, so I just started playing with her. Lindsay, my jaw dropped. And the fact that I have this on camera, because I usually had her ride the bus home and I just like picked her up and I was like recording on Snapchat. Phenomenal. Spirit will use the closest people to you to bring through the validation that you need for the truth that you're asking for.
100%, 100%. I mean, I know you've seen the video, but that time that I was out west, it was my first hiking trip after Roger passed with my friend Amber, and who knew like I needed somebody to go with me, and it had to be like different enough but similar enough, right? And she was videotaping like off and on the whole like time we were hiking. All like every hike we went on, she would rotate between videotaping and photographs. And we're up super high, and we were very high elevation in a really remote area where we literally saw two people the entire time we were hiking because it was a pretty extreme hike. And she caught on video these monarch butterflies coming up out of nowhere at elevation. And I mean, to your point, like Roger's like, okay, I'm going to deliver you the sign. I'm also going to give you a permanent record of it because Amber's going to tape it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. See, that's just stuff that like has to happen in that divine moment. Like that has to happen in the divine moment to get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
by the way, she never even saw them because she was filming. And so I was like, oh my God, did you see that? And which she was filming the whole thing of me saying. And then she was like, no, what? And I go, like a huge monarch just came up and then babies went up behind it. And
oh,
like looked back at the video and was like, oh my God. Yeah.
see, I love that. I'm like, thank you, Spirit. I'll have this forever. You know,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
memories of the moments forever. They just anchor in time. It's so beautiful.
Exactly. Well, do you want me to wrap
Oh,
up my story?
I love this story. I could hear it 1,001 times. So I'm really excited for the audience to hear it as well.
So,
And I think it's important to say how big of a Hawk fan you are. I think we did in the beginning, but
yeah,
Hawks are Lindsay's like anchor. They're her crystal. They're her
yeah,
everything.
because I always know it's tied to Roger. Like that's like his big, I would say that's his big sign.
Yeah.
And what I love about this is no matter where you're at on your journey, if you're at the beginning, if you've been doing this work for decades, we always are in growth and expansion. We're always getting magical codes and signs to help cue us in deeper and deeper and up level us even more. So this is on the heel of me having several months of headaches, and I had just started to think to myself, maybe I'm expanding. Maybe that's why this is happening. And then this story happened. So I was out in the beautiful garden that my fiance built in the backyard, and I was watering. And I don't get hummingbirds as a sign, but I love hummingbirds. She gets hummingbirds as a sign. But I absolutely love hummingbirds and their energy. I just think they're 100% divine. But I'm in the garden, I'm watering, and I'm being followed, and it's a pretty big area. I'm being followed by this beautiful creature that looked like a hummingbird and moved like a hummingbird. But I knew it wasn't a hummingbird, and I have never in my life seen or heard of anything like this before. So this creature is close to me. It's following me along as I'm watering different plants. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to get a picture of it. I'm going to take a video of it. And I guess at some level, that was all I was thinking. But then I think at some level, I was like, I'm going to try to figure out what this is. But it moved so much like a hummingbird and it was so cute. It was very ethereal looking, to be honest. And I got really close to it. It was not, like I said, it was following me. It was not far from me at all during the entire time I was out there. So, probably a good 10 minutes, this creature was by me. And I found out afterward that it is a hummingbird hawk moth. And they do move like a hummingbird. They have wing speeds of like 70 miles an hour. Their lifespan is like 7 to 14 days. So even just seeing one is a miracle in and of itself. And then I read all of the cultural significances of these beautiful creatures, and the Native American analysis of like the spiritual meaning was so deeply resonant with me. So not only does it have hawk in the name, and it moves like magical, like a hummingbird, like a fairy, but it also has deep, deep spiritual significance about expansion and up leveling. And the thing I found most intriguing and honestly felt so much reverence, gratitude, thankfulness to be able to experience was that they will not go around anything low vibrational, and that it's rare for a person to get close to one because they will only be in high vibrational energy. And this creature was probably an inch from my hand. And so to read that was so amazing to me. And then I had a really deep download about the experience which I shared with Autumn probably about a week afterwards, that the fact that they only live 7 to 14 days and their birthing process is akin to a butterfly where they're in a cocoon, and so they're in that transformational state before they come to fruition in this material world, and then they transition out of it in such a short time frame. And it really came to me that that is really the energy of us, of all creatures, of oneness, that we're constantly rebirthing, re-transforming, expanding, and our upleveling of our spiritual growth is similar to that. And when we can shift our lens of looking at transition, passing, I don't like the word death, but death, rebirth, when we can shift it and think about the high vibrational energy that this creature is in the short window of time that it's blessing us on this earth, it just creates so much beautiful, expansive awareness. And I thought, how amazing to be able to think about our life in that way.
It is, first of all, I love, love, love that story. You should all go Google a hummingbird hawk moth because they are phenomenal. My first question was, how are those made? How are those made? But then the deeper meanings, like just them only being here for 7 to 14 days, miracle, like you had stated. The reincarnation process of them constantly up leveling, I think, is such a beautiful download. And that's the energy that is here. If they can tap into that high vibrational energy within 7 to 14 days of their life, every single person on this planet, through a shift of perspective, can access this high vibrational energy just as quickly. You just have to start being consciously aware, trusting the signs, asking for the signs, just being aware of the expansion process. And knowing that you are not your past and you are not what happens to you. Those moments in time are really the deeper parts of you to be able to expand further in this life. So anything that has happened to me that is deep, I I don't treasure them, but I'm thankful for those times because I feel like through those times of hell, I can live heaven on earth now. And every single person has this ability to expand. Um, Such a beautiful story, such a beautiful gift to share to our audience. I have never been able to experience a hummingbird hawk moth, but you guarantee it's on my bucket list of this is a sign I want to see. So
Yeah, I understand that. You will, you will. You're definitely super high vibrational. So, but I think like too that just to end on, I think that no matter where you're at on your journey, you always have like the opportunity, the ability to expand, to grow, to up level, and listening and trusting in the signs that that I mean I knew as soon as I saw this creature there was something different and I was supposed to cue into the energy of it, and which I totally did, and I'm so thankful. I think if something gets your attention, even if it's in an instance, pay attention to it. Just don't go about your day. Like I could have just continued watering and I would have missed the entire huge message that was meant for me and the connective tissue with everything else that is going on in my life. So just listen, tap into it.
I love how you said that. If it catches your attention, it's for you. Pay
Exactly.
attention. Pay attention to anything that catches your attention.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. That's such a good one to know, to end on today, I feel.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Thanks again for another amazing episode of the Soul Revival, Lindsay. I'm so grateful for this and our audience that listens to keep this podcast going. If you enjoy this, head over to, well, first leave us a 5-star review. And also, we have a free Facebook group, the Soul Revival Community on Facebook. So come and join us over there for free gifts, more ways to guide you along this path. We are active over there. So we would love to have you.
Plus, I'm going to post the video. Now that you just said that, I'm going to post the video of the hummingbird hawk moth on the Facebook group.
There we go. If today's words stirred something in you, that's no coincidence. Your soul is speaking and it's ready to be heard. If you resonated with today's episode, Spirit is cheering you on, encouraging you. Start choosing yourself again. Start saying yes to your healing and join our sacred community over at www.thesoulrevival.com.
Because healing is better when we do it together. If you love this episode, be sure to hit follow, leave a review, and share this with someone who's ready to return to their soul self. Thank you, Aligned Souls.